Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Extra Wellness webinar as part of Mental Health Awareness Week. I'm Tatiana. I'm a Registered Associate Nutritionist and working in the ESS Nutrition and Wellbeing team. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about food, mood, and mindful eating. So we're going to think about how does food affect our mood? What is a healthy and balanced diet? How can we fuel our mind? The types of things that we need to be eating to ensure we have a good mood, have a think about emotional eating, mindfulness and mindful eating, and then tie everything together by talking a bit about mental health. So can food really affect mood? When we're thinking about food and mood, there are a few different questions that always crop up. And there's more and more research being done into this area. But with 1 in 4 of us experiencing a mental health problem each year, it's becoming more and more of a prominent issue. So when we're thinking about mental health, often eating patterns and nutrition get overlooked. However, the food that we actually eat can affect our energy levels, our mood, and our brain function. So, as I mentioned before, lots of research has been done in this area. We know food can affect our physical health, but it is also linked to our mental health. And the food that we eat can affect how we feel, and this can influence our food choices. So, for example, if you're sad, you might reach for a box of chocolates. If you're tired, you could be lacking specific nutrients. Or sometimes we link food choice with association, so things like pleasure and reward. So when we're younger, we were rewarded with dessert after finishing our main meal, for example. And then there's things like emotional reasons, so things like comfort eating. As well as this, deficiencies in some vitamins and minerals can affect our energy levels, our mood, and our brain function. And then external stresses can affect our digestive health. So if we're stressed, for example, we might get painful bloating or IBS. So in order to support both our physical and our mental health, we need to be making sure that we consume a healthy and balanced diet. So if you've listened to one of our webinars before, you will have heard us speak about the Eat Well Guide. But this is basically what the UK government has created to make sure that we're getting all the vitamins, minerals, energy and nutrients that we need to stay fit and healthy, as well as maintaining a good mood. So I'm just going to quickly whiz through the 5 different food groups. So our big green section here is our fruit and vegetables. Most of us know we need to be having 5 portions of these each day, including a different range and colours to ensure that we get all the vitamins and minerals that we need. Another third of our diet should be based on potatoes, bread, rice, pasta, and other starchy carbohydrates. So this food group is really important to provide us with energy. It also is a really great source of fibre, which is really good for our gut health, particularly where we're choosing brown varieties. So things like brown bread, brown rice, brown pasta, where possible. We also have our blue food group, which is our dairy or dairy alternatives. We need to be looking out for lower fat and lower sugar options where possible. And this group is really important to provide us with calcium, vitamin D, and this is really important for our bone strength and density. Our next food group is our beans, pulses, fish, eggs, meat, and other proteins. So this food group is actually really diverse. It's not just meat, it includes other sources of protein. So that's really important to get a different range. And then our smallest food group is our unsaturated oils and spreads. So these tend to be plant-based and liquid at room temperature, and these provide us with really important essential fatty acids. Then around our Eat Well guide, we've got our foods high in fat, saturated fat, sugar and salt. Now, all of these foods do have a place in our diet, but we just need to be eating them less often and in smaller amounts. So why is a healthy and balanced diet really important? Well, firstly, it helps us maintain a healthy weight, which decreases our risk of diet-related diseases. So things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke and some cancers. A balanced and varied diet provides us with all the vitamins and minerals we need to manage and regulate our hormone function and maintain our mood. So I'm going to go into this in the following slides in a bit more detail. It helps manage our blood sugar levels and ensure that they stay at a steady level. So this is really important, as I mentioned before, about the carbohydrate foods providing us with energy. If we're excluding these or not eating enough, we can have an effect on our mood. A healthy and balanced diet can also help with our digestive health and our gut health, and this also plays a really important role in our mood as well. And then we need to make sure that we are fueling our bodies with enough energy, which will help us maintain brain function, help us think clearly and deal with stressful situations. So, as well as getting the right nutrients, it's really important that we can fuel our brains. So our brain actually uses about 20% of our daily energy intake, and this is in the form of glucose from our carbohydrate foods. Now, this is really essential to help us concentrate, stay alert, and focus. Glucose is needed to fuel our muscles as well as carrying out bodily functions and movement throughout the day. And if we don't eat enough, we can feel a bit weak, tired, have poor concentration. And this can also happen if we do large amounts of physical activity and we're not refueling correctly, or if we're following a restrictive diet, so something like cutting out carbohydrates or fasting for really long periods of time. Also really important that we get the right balance. So if we have too much glucose, then we can experience a rush followed by a bit of a slump. So to avoid this, we need to be basing our meals on starchy carbohydrates. So these are the ones that have slow release energy. So things like brown bread, brown rice, brown pasta, oats, our whole grains. As well as these are all a really good source of fibre, which, as I've mentioned before, is great for our gut health. And then we can also get our glucose from other foods, not just carbohydrates, so things like naturally occurring sugars in fruit and dairy. So unsaturated fats are also really important. So essential fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6, are really important for our brains to function well. And they make up part of our cell membranes, and they also have anti-inflammatory properties. And as well as this, we need to be including a range of different sources of these omega-3 and 6 fatty acids. So we can get these from our 2 portions of fish per week. We should try and be including one of these to be oily, so things like salmon, mackerel or trout. If you don't eat fish, there are plant-based sources, so things like walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds. However, we'll need to consume a bit more of these in a larger quantity if we're not eating fish. And then we've got our unsaturated oils and spreads, so things like our olive oil and our rapeseed oil. It is important to remember that this food group is energy dense, so if we are including these, we need to just have them in moderate amounts. So if we're lacking in certain nutrients, it can also play a role in our mood. So, for example, those with iron deficiencies can experience lots of different symptoms, such as feeling tired and weak, but it can also be linked to anxiety and depression. Then we have our B vitamins, which can help support our brain function and hormone production. So lack of these could be linked with mental health issues. And then we've got our folic acid and selenium, which are also closely linked to mental health. So if we're not eating a balanced diet and not eating enough nutrient-rich foods, we could be deficient in some of these vitamins and minerals. And we should try a food-first approach where we gain these nutrients from our food. However, supplementation could be useful for at-risk groups such as pregnant women or the elderly. So as well as what we eat, hydration is really important in affecting our mood. So we're approximately 2% dehydrated before we feel thirsty. And this can lead us to feel tired, dizzy, lethargic, have headaches. And this can have an effect on our concentration, decision-making and physical performance. So to prevent this, we need to be drinking little and often and taking regular sips throughout the day. We should be aiming to have about 1.5 litres of fluid each day. So this is about 6 to 8 glasses. And this is really important because our body is mostly made up of water, and it's really key in making our body fluids, waste removal, as well as maintaining a good body temperature. So what counts? First and foremost, water is great, but room temperature as opposed to cold. This means we can drink a bit more. We can go for squash, but look out for the no added sugar options. Our milk, our fruit juice and smoothies, however, a maximum of 150 millilitres per day. This is due to the free sugars in the fruit juice and smoothie, which could cause damage to our teeth. Then we've got our tea and coffee, but just be mindful of caffeine content. And then if we're doing a lot of exercise, sports drinks can be really useful as well. So caffeine can actually have an effect on our mood and our feelings as well. So it's actually a stimulant which increases our feelings of alertness. And we can find caffeine in tea, coffee, cola, but also in things like energy drinks and chocolate. If we have too much, it can make us feel irritable, we can have a bit of a headache. But if we're regular caffeine consumers, cutting it out completely can cause us to have withdrawal symptoms, so cause things like headaches and dizziness, or maybe feeling a bit shaky. If we have too much caffeine, it can also increase our cortisol levels. So cortisol is a stress hormone, and this can disrupt our sleep, which again can have an effect on our mood. Caffeine can also lead to dehydration and have a diuretic effect, which can lead to more feelings of irritability. And then it's also important to remember that energy drinks can also be high in sugar and calories. So this can also lead to that buzz and crash, as I mentioned before. As well as if we consume this in excess, it could lead to weight gain or tooth decay. Alongside caffeine, alcohol consumption can also play an effect in our mood. So again, it has a diuretic effect. It can lead to dehydration. It's also a depressant, which can lead to feelings of stress or anxiety, and this can hit you the next day. You may have heard of beer fear or alcohol anxiety. When consumed in excess, alcohol can also weaken our immune system. So if we are drinking, it's recommended that we have no more than 14 units per week and spread our drinking over 3 or more days. So having a few alcohol-free days each week. 14 units is about the equivalent of 6 pints of beer or 6 medium glasses of wine. And then it's also important just to remember that alcohol is actually really calorie dense. So it contains 7 calories per gram of pure alcohol. But this also doesn't mention what we eat while we're drinking, so your snacks at the pub or your cheesy chips after the night out. So these are just really important to be mindful of. So there's also a link with our gut health and our mental health. So this is a new area of research, but a really, really interesting one at the moment. So our gut is linked to our brain through our gut-brain axis. And if we don't have the right balance or the wrong types of bacteria in our gut, it can result in inflammation. And this inflammation is linked to depression, anxiety, and this can affect our overall mood. Therefore, it's really important that we look after our gut health. So our diet is the best way to increase our diversity and balance of gut bacteria in our gut, and therefore this can benefit our mental health. So we can do this by eating a variety of different foods, in particular plant-based foods, which are high in fibre, and there's more research being done into probiotics, but these can be found in fermented foods and could also help increase the number of good bacteria in our gut. And if we've got more good bacteria, this can also increase the production of happy hormones, so things like serotonin, which can improve our mood and make us feel good. So closely linked to food and mood is comfort eating. So is this all bad? Often we associate comfort foods with energy-dense foods, so things that are high in fat, saturated fat, sugar and salt. Now these foods actually do sit around the Eat Well guide, and they do have a place in our diet. It would be boring if we didn't include them, and these include a range of different foods. But it's just important to remember, if we're including these foods, just have them in moderation. So why do we comfort eat? Well, our hormones and chemicals in our brain can affect how we feel, and this can change the way that we eat. So serotonin is a hormone that improves our mood and controls our sleep. It is made with tryptophan, which we get from our food, so things like chicken, spinach, nuts in our diet. And if we don't have enough of this, then it could increase our risk of depressive symptoms. As well as this, sometimes we might get sugary or sweet or carbohydrate food cravings, especially when we're lacking in energy. And this is because carbohydrates actually help make tryptophan available to our body. So if there is less tryptophan in our blood, it can lead us to feel hungry or maybe have a low mood. And this can be particularly seen if we're following a low carbohydrate diet, where we're not getting enough, so we can be often left feeling a bit grouchy or irritable. And often if we're restricted of certain foods, it can lead to more cravings and comfort eating. So it's important just to remember everything in that balance and moderation. And as I mentioned when talking about the Eat Well guide, it's really important that we base our meals on carbohydrate foods and prevent us from having these low moods or cravings. And just as a side note, you may have also heard the idea of eating chocolate can make you feel happier. However, this is actually probably because our brains often associate chocolate as a reward, which can release happy hormones and make us feel a bit better. But as I've mentioned before, all of this is new research and nothing is 100% conclusive just yet. So this leads me on to mindful eating. What is it and how can it help? So how do we know the difference between mindless and mindful eating? Well, mindless eating, we all have really busy lifestyles where we don't stop to eat. We're more reliant on fast and convenience foods. So this means we're not focusing on our food as we eat it. We're maybe eating for emotional reasons and we're not tuning in and listening to our bodies. And this could mean that we could have digestive issues. We might overeat until we're uncomfortably full, or this might cause us to have a negative relationship with our food. In comparison, mindful eating is where we're more aware of what we're consuming and eating foods that are making us feel good. So by eating mindfully, we're focusing on the experience of eating. We're listening to our hunger and fullness cues. We're eating foods that make us feel good. We're thinking about how full we feel, if we're hungry, or if we're eating just because we're bored. However, it is important to remember that mindful eating is a skill and it does take time to learn and develop. But it's just about being aware of what you're doing and how your food is making you feel. So there are loads of different benefits to mindful eating. So things like reduced stress and anxiety, more pleasure from our food. Sometimes it can taste better if we slow down and eat it more slowly. We can help make more conscious and healthier choices. We can improve our digestion by eating a bit slower. It can help us with weight management, so we're eating just the right amount, not too much and not too little. And it can prevent feelings of guilt or shame around eating. So if you want to give mindful eating a go, there are a few tips that can help. So don't eat on the go, sit down, eat your food slowly. This can prevent digestive issues. You can ditch the distractions, so leaving your phone well away from the table, turning off the TV, getting away from your desk at lunchtime is a great place to start. You can think about what you're eating. So what food is going to make you feel good when you're eating it? You can listen to your body. So are you hungry? Are you bored? Are you eating because you're sad or stressed? Slow down when you eat. So actually take time to cut up and chew your food. Again, this can help with digestion. Be in tune with your feelings. So think about how hungry or full you feel. Use all of your senses to have a look at the appearance of your food, what went into it, the different ingredients, what kind of textures are in there, the different flavours. And then think about the wider picture around food and your eating habits. So enjoy the process of selecting or growing your ingredients, trying out new recipes. Cooking doesn't have to be a chore. You can enjoy experimenting with new flavours and recipes and so on. So finally, bring it back to mental health. What else can we do? So there are a few tips to maintain our good health. And our food and what we eat is linked to our mental health. However, there are other things we can do. So keeping active, so physical activity can help release happy hormones, which make us feel good, which is really beneficial for our mental health. If we're drinking alcohol, have it in moderation. We need to be taking some time out. So even if this is just 30 minutes, blocking out your lunch break or taking time to read a book in the evening, going for a walk. We can keep connected and talk to others, so keeping in touch with our friends and family, sharing how we feel, speaking about our days is really important. We can do something that we enjoy, so doing something for us. What are you good at? What makes you feel happy? Asking for help is really important, so if you are struggling, please make sure you do speak to someone. And then we can help others, so you never know what someone else is going through, so look out for each other. So in summary, how can we achieve good mood through food? Well, as I've mentioned before, it's important to base our meals around starchy carbohydrates, in particular our whole grains. So this is really good for our gut health, which we know is closely linked to our mental health. We need to be aiming for our 5 a day, so including 5 different colours and types to get all the different vitamins and minerals we need. We need to be thinking about having other vitamins and minerals, so in particular things like iron, which has an effect on our mood. We can decrease our caffeine and alcohol intake. So if we have too much of this, as we've discussed, it can have adverse effects. And then we can try and incorporate mindful eating practices and including foods which make us feel good. So if you want to find out more, obviously our wellness team are always here on hand to answer your questions. Just drop us an email at ess.wellness@compass-group.co.uk. We also have our health and wellbeing resources, so look out for our health and wellbeing board. We've got our Wellness Wednesdays. We're also on social media, so just search We Are ESS on YouTube, Instagram and TikTok. We have our monthly wellness newsletter, our Healthier Mind newsletter and our Toolbox Talk each month. And again, our emails are always open. Just let us know if you want any of these resources sent directly to your email inbox. Finally, a little reminder, don't forget that this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, so our challenge today is to eat well and mindfully. It's coming up to lunchtime. Can you take that 30 minutes just to eat mindfully and slowly? We've got a few other things happening for the rest of the week. Keep an eye on Instagram and Workplace. On Thursday, we've got a live mindfulness session with Evan, so make sure you tune in for that. And we've also got our mental health first aid specialists, so get in touch with those if you'd like to discuss anything. But thank you very much for listening. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop us an email. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.